She was a Republican before being a Republican was cool. You met her on Wednesday talking about saving babies. You'll see another side of Lois Eargle on this morning's Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning with the Myrtle Beach Herald. We're focused on the 2005 Star Chef's Auction for the March of Dimes, and we're visiting with its chairman, the Honorable Lois Eargle. Good morning, Lois.
I enjoyed it so much I come back again.
I love it. I love it. It was great having you in on Wednesday.
Yes.
And you can never run out of time talking about the March of Dimes, and it's a great, amazing mission.
It takes two programs to really wrap it up.
Well, and there, two programs wouldn't be enough to wrap you up with all that you've been involved in, and that's what was so exciting, having you in on Wednesday. And I think I asked you a question like what it was like the first time you ran for office. And of course, I think you made pretty clear that would be more than the 5 minutes we had in the show to wrap it up. Of course, even more exciting for viewers who may not have caught Wednesday's show. What's the Star Chef's Auction all about, Lois?
The Star Chef's Auction is an annual event for the March of Dimes. In fact, it's our biggest event.
Really?
We have March
the big Walk America.
Walk America, and we have the real estate breakfast and some other functions. But the Star Chef's Auction, or the Signature Chef's Auction, however you want to say it, is our biggest event. Last year we raised about almost $70,000.
Wow.
It was a wonderful event. It was a night to remember,
right.
KNIGHT, and we had the medieval times who came as our guests, and they were dressed in their costumes, the lords and the kings and the queens and the princesses and what do you call the doorkeepers?
Don't ask me. I haven't been, but they really put on a show.
They did.
They put on a show,
and it was just. And they added an additional excitement,
right.
And we had a host of silent auctions, items that, things that you probably wouldn't go out to buy,
sure.
and you've often said, I wished I had this.
Yeah.
You find it there at the silent auction.
Absolutely.
And get it at a good price too, and it helps save a baby.
That's exactly. Not only you wouldn't go out to buy, you couldn't go out to buy so many things that are there that night at the Star or Signature Chef's Auction.
And we have a live auction too, and we have a lot of trips. Hooters Air has given us 10 round-trip airline ticket trips.
Those folks at Hooters Air are really donating a lot to the community.
They really do. They really try to be a part of the community and have done so much for a lot of people.
It's great to have a locally owned and operated airline right here in the area.
I think we got a diamond ring. It's going to be auctioned.
Hear your ring tapping there. We're thinking about diamond rings.
Yes. So it's going to be a wonderful event. But the main focus is all of that is nice, but the main focus is on saving babies.
Oh, yeah.
And we will have our ambassador babies there that night, who is Riley Grace Saffels. She was born at 2 pounds.
2 pounds.
2 pounds. Luke was born. Luke Parrott.
Right.
He was 1 pound.
Wow.
And today they are doing well. Well, last week we had Riley Grace was at our meeting we had, and her father was there. She's 17 months old now. She was born with a hole in her heart, among other problems.
Oh yeah, you heard him talk about that. So many little things that kept cropping up.
Yeah.
So many things.
Yeah, but she looks like she's well on the way to
full recovery.
Growing up to be a fine young lady, and much of that is due to the March of Dimes and those people who come out to the Chef's Auction and participate. And of course people like you. You have done so much for the March of Dimes and for a lot of other folks too. But you have really, you're our premier sponsor this year.
Thank you, Lois. That's right. Absolutely. There's so many folks who sponsor.
And
we want
to. That's just
Thank
wonderful.
Thank you very much. Absolutely.
We have also now, if you want to, the tickets are $125 each, or you can buy a table. A table is $12.50.
Right.
And it's for 10.
For a table of 10. Okay, great.
10, and then, or if you want to be a premier sponsor, you can.
Absolutely. We'd be happy to share the premier sponsorship, the Myrtle Beach Herald and the Myrtle Beach Area Business Journal. We'd be happy for anyone else to come in at that level. I think Carson Benton's come in at $3,000.
He is.
And so there's other $5,000 and $10,000
Yeah,
levels.
yours is 10,000.
Right.
And we just appreciate that. It just takes, and I know you say, well, now I don't have that, to that extent. Come on out and just
Be there.
there.
$125.
Yeah.
A lot of folks think on a Monday night, what can I do? I've got to go out, with a family member. You can come out by yourself.
That's
And like
right.
you said on Wednesday, come out early because there are a lot of great silent auction items. You need to really work all those tables there to see all the amazing items you've got.
Now, I just want to tell the ladies, all of those nice evening dresses that you have in your closet, now is a wonderful chance to wear and
get
show
'em out.
off that dress.
Right, to get them out.
Yeah, it's a black tie optional. But all the ladies dressed in their finest.
Yes, we like that.
Yes, I love to watch them, see what...
See ladies
Yes,
get dressed up.
yeah,
How
I
about
love 'em.
guys? I like to see them get dressed
Yes.
up. They all look the same, though. All wearing black suits, yeah.
Well, sometimes they wear another color.
It's a Monday night this year, Lois.
Monday night on the 7th of November, and it's going to be at the convention center, and we got A, B, C, D, and E, all of the ballrooms
Wow.
that they have given us, because it's become that big.
Well, and you use the word big, and you use that it's one of the biggest events. Obviously, the Walk America, Horry County Walk America, raises more than $200,000.
They do.
Raises a lot more money, but it's not as big an event as it relates to the excitement of the. I mean, it is a huge event, and it's
It's
one thing
huge.
we need to think about. The
Yeah.
Walk America.
The Walk America is, of course, we have the big focus on, the walk that day
Right,
on Saturday.
sure, on that Saturday, yeah.
But then we have other little events too, along like I mentioned, we have in Roast a Dog and Save a Baby. That's
Yes.
something new that we're trying over at Ocean Lakes
Ocean
Campground.
Lakes Family Campground. That's on
And,
Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend, and that's going to be a lot of fun too.
And if a viewer wanted to learn about Roast a Dog and Save a Baby, as well as about the Star Chef's auction or the Mission of the March of Dimes, what's the best number someone would want to call if they need to get off to work now or get out to school?
Of course, 843.
Okay.
488-3463.
Okay, and that's the PD division of the March of Dimes based in Conway.
That's right. My home phone is 365-6418 if you want to call me.
Get down. That's a
Yeah.
great commitment from a chairman of an
Yeah.
event, and of course,
Yeah.
even more exciting, chair-elect of the Horry County division of the March of Dimes, which is a big deal, Lois. I think they voted you in last week.
They did.
Was it a pretty contentious vote? Did you have some other people vying for it and
Well,
pushing?
I think I noticed that so many in the board just was hastily made the motion second because they was afraid they were going to nominate them. That goes.
and that ties in real well. Someone said about you, Lois, if you want to get something done, call Lois
Yeah.
Eargle to get it done.
Well, I do my best.
That's great. That must have come from back in the, was it 1976?
1976, whenever I ran, I did not particularly like the way some things were going in the county.
This was, and forgive me for viewers, this was in House District 105.
The House District
House of
105,
Representatives, okay.
That's right. And so at that time, before then, I had worked very hard on getting some changes in our county,
Right.
and actually our state. We had not had any change in our judicial system since 1895, whenever our Constitution was written. And up until the 70s, if you were arrested for a crime in Charleston County and you lived in Horry County, you would be tried differently because each county was an island to themselves. They had rules to
Wow.
themselves. And the American Judicature Society, along with the South Carolina Bar Association, got together and said, we need to do something. Our Constitution needs to be changed so that we can operate under a unified system, which meant the Supreme Court at the head and then
Right.
other courts, down. So I went to a citizens conference called by the governor, and then I became the president of the organization, and then I had another citizens conference. But anyway, to make a long story short, we accomplished in South Carolina in 8 months that it took the state of Kansas 8 years to do.
Wow.
And that was just to get the question to the people, because there were some senators that did not want this to happen because they usually they were the leader or the senator in the county was an attorney, and they liked to rule, and that's the way it was here in Horry County. Our senator had been senator for 23 years. He was an attorney, and he did not want any changes made because he liked the way that it was operating.
Wow.
So
That
from
must have been some pretty severe opposition then when you were trying to get the ball rolling on that,
was.
Lois.
And from that, because of my involvement, at that time they ruled the county. There was no county council at that time. It was just a board of commissioners.
That right?
So they took all the county business away from us because we had a business. Because the senator said he did not like what Lois Eargle was doing.
You are kidding. Now, share with viewers real quick how something like that could happen. I mean, because oftentimes...
And we live in America. And
I understand. I mean, oftentimes someone will get anxious in a county where there's still large employers. They'll think, I can't buck the trend because they'll take my business away. Because they will call their friends. So in an instance like this gentleman or gentlemen said, we're going to do something to impact Lois's money.
That's right. And if you want to get to somebody, you have to get to their pocketbook.
Pocketbook, yeah.
And I know the secretary called me in from the county and said, I can't believe that you're doing this to your family.
Wow.
But then it's not, I live in America. America, that you can stand up and just because I was working and telling the people there were going to be some changes.
Right.
So I decided the best way to take care of my representative, whom I went in and talked to, and he admitted that's what they were doing because they did not like what I was doing.
You mean that they were going to make every effort to cut off your money stream, essentially, too? And you all had a family business then?
Yes. It was Eargle's Business Machines, office supplies.
Right.
And they did. They could have. But that's the day that I decided I was going to run for the House of Representatives.
Wow, Lois.
And so I did, and I beat an 8-year incumbent.
Is that right?
Yes, I did. There was 3 men and myself in the race, and then I was elected, and then I had opposition every time. The thing about my district, Greg, is the fact that it was the largest agricultural district in the state.
In the state of South Carolina?
Yes.
Much like the 6th congressional district was one of the largest east of the Mississippi districts, congressional districts.
Yeah. And so they said, ain't no pardon expression, but ain't no farmer going to vote for no woman.
Wow.
But they did.
And you changed that,
I went down tobacco fields hunting. I suckered tobacco with them farmers. I went right out there with them, and they'd come in at night on them tractors. I'd go up behind them, blow the horn, and they'd get out of the car, and I'd say, I'm Lois Eargle, and I'm running for the House of Representatives, and I need your support. And so it took a lot of hard work and a lot of, it took a lot of dedication with my family, too, because I'm telling you, my family had to go through a lot. You couldn't pay one of my children to run for public office today.
Wow.
Because they see what you have to go through with. In fact, it got so bad, my husband would answer the phone and he'd say, she's not here, but would you like to leave a rumor?
Oh, no, Lois.
Yes, it was just...
Yeah, let's hear some of those rumors. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure those got pretty vicious.
It did. And, but I really, really felt like that I made a difference whenever I was elected, and I did. And I know whenever I finished my 8 years, I went to some of those people that were my detractors and told them I wanted to thank them because of them, I would go down in history as one of the best representatives Horry County has ever had, because opposition makes you stronger.
Wow. Listen to that.
Yes.
Opposition
makes you strong. Yes, it does. And it was, I was able to establish for the mentally retarded a day in the legislature that every year we recognize the mentally retarded across the state. They brought loads of them to Columbia, and we were able to fund the programs whenever the budget was tight, because the legislators were familiar with mentally retarded and what our state did for them.
Mm-hmm. Those are great words, Lois. I had to write that down. Opposition makes you strong.
Oh, it does.
That is that's great. And I know we're talking about the March of Dimes today, but we had to talk about you, and that ties in to the mission of March of Dimes. You think about it, the opposition finding a cure to birth defects, finding a cure to prematurity. That's some huge opposition.
Sure
Cures
is.
haven't been found in a million years. But to know that mission is still there, and those doctors and researchers every day are fighting against that opposition, and makes them more resolved every day.
And also, the legislature last year passed a law that makes it mandate when a baby is born in South Carolina that they have to have so many tests to see if they are even having maybe that they will have some problems later on. There's certain tests they have to see if the baby is mentally right and heart's right and everything's right, and this come through the legislature.
What was the first time that you figured out that a woman could do anything a man could do?
I never ever considered myself. I mean, I just never did. I just thought I was a person. I'm an American,
Right.
and that I was a person, and I could do anything. Just like one time in the legislature, whenever we discussed the death penalty, one of the representatives got up and said, "Mr. Speaker, I would like for all the women to leave the chambers." That offended me.
When you were a House member, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want to leave. I was a House member. I didn't want to,
Talking about the death penalty, he was fearful that you'd be hurt psychologically. Yeah.
So
That's
just one. But I never, and all through my life, my career, and I was the first non-lawyer, non-judge on the American Judicature Society. Was the first one. I was the only woman that sat in there with those guys. I was the only woman on the Highway Commission.
Wow.
So it's been, and I have never ever thought about it one way or the other. I just knew that I could make a difference.
Right.
And I knew that I was a person. I love the Lord, and I love my country.
But Lois, you had to have a parent or a mentor or someone who said, "Lois, you're equal. You're equal to any guy in the room, and you can do anything they can do." Did you have that, or I mean, didn't you have some training? You just knew it innately.
I just knew that I wanted to do it. I had a father who had an incurable disease.
Mm-hmm.
He was sick, and I had a younger brother, two brothers, younger brother and a younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother had to go to the school whenever I was in the 10th grade and tell them I had to quit school and go to work because, and I was the only one at 15 in my family working. And so that really made me strong. And I always had a desire to be somebody and to do something, and it was just instilled in me. And the good Lord has just been with me through the years, has instilled in me His mission, and His mission is the same, it's just like the Marching Dimes mission. And I just knew that I was going to be somebody special. And I went back to school, of course, and I went and got to attend college and got my degree and everything. But at that time, when my family needed me, you do what you have to do.
And the only reason I asked that, we had a guest on last week. Actually, my dad was with us, and he always talked about his grandfather, his mother's father, always saying, "My daughters," because he didn't have any sons, and his wife died early on, said, "My daughters can do anything that a man could do." And he was very progressive in that thinking, and helped his daughter go to law school and then become a lawyer with him. And so to think of that, and that's why I asked if there was someone who gave you that, but you knew it innately, which is
my
wonderful.
mother thought I was nuts.
Your mother thought you were nuts. Let's segue back to that's right. Yeah, to run for the legislature.
Yes.
Your mother was in Sumter then.
In Sumter then.
Where you grew up.
Yes, where I grew up, and we moved to Conway in 1961, and we went in business at that time.
Right, Eargle
Business Machines. And we
Is that still around, though?
No, we were in business for 24 years.
Is that right, from 61 to 85?
That's right, and yes, and we technology just ran us out because that's whenever computers and all came in, and we just couldn't keep up with it. And into the Kmart's and the Walmart's came in with all the supplies, so we just decided we were just going to retire.
Were you a pretty good typist?
Sure I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to do the bulletins whenever we used to have to crank them out on those old machines.
Oh, no, I don't know about those, yeah.
You don't know that.
You're dating me there, yeah. You're dating me. What about the auditor, Lois? What prompted you to run for auditor 12 or 13 years ago and hold that role now?
At that time I was the Assistant Secretary of State with Jim Miles, and I wanted to get back home. I wanted to get back to Doherty County.
Right.
And I didn't, and the Comptroller General's office was in the same building that our office was in. And whenever I knew that the current auditor was not going to opt for re-election, then I visited with the Comptroller General's office. I found out what the auditor's office had to do, what their duties were, and I found out that I might not know everything, but with my experiences that I've had through the years in state government, that I knew where to go, and that's what it. And I have not. I just went right on in. Everything went smooth, and it's right now. If you will ask the Department of Revenue or Comptroller General's office, one of the most outstanding auditor's office in the state of South Carolina, they'll tell you it's Doherty County.
Wow.
Tell you Doherty County, and it still goes back to caring for people, and you can. And I think too that you got to have faith in yourself. Not only faith in Jesus Christ, but you got to have faith in yourself. And so that you can do it. I mean, and we can do a lot of things if we just get out and do it. We can raise money for babies if we get out and do it.
Absolutely, Lois.
Yes.
And raising money for the Republican Party, another thing. And of course, not to segue to that, but at a time when virtually everyone were Democrats, for you to have been one of the founding members, I think one of the charter members of the Myrtle Beach Republican Women's Club.
That's right. I'm the chairman emeritus. I'm chairman emeritus of the Horry County Republican Party.
That's right. You were chairman back in the 80. It looks like from 84 to 89 and 92 to 95. And chairman. I mean, that's a pretty big deal to have been doing that. Now, when you ran in 76, that's an important question.
Okay.
You ran in 76.
I ran as a Democrat.
You did, yes.
I ran as a
And you
Democrat.
changed parties.
Yes.
What
At that
year?
time, I changed parties in 1984.
In 84.
But in 1976, there were no Republicans here.
Yeah. In the whole county, there had to be some.
Maybe about 5.
Yeah. Okay. It was kind of like Bob Bessler talking about Democrats.
12,
Yeah.
8 or 12 he talks about. It was not very many at all. It was a staunch Democratic hold.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
how has that shifted so much? The likes of you and others
well,
who
yeah,
came in.
whenever I was elected, the Democrats at that time never, you know what they gave me? The only thing the Democrats ever gave me was opposition. That's the only time, because they never ever forgave me for running and beating the incumbent at that time, because they had their little clique, you know.
Right, sure.
And so it was not hard for me to change over to. I just got tired of being treated the way I was treated by them. Now they're different now. They're okay.
So you switched to the Republican Party and then won in the primary. At that point, you shared with us on Wednesday, ran for Congress in the 6th district.
Yes.
And won the Republican primary and then lost to Robin Talon. Right. Wow. Who held that position for a little while.
He did until they redistricted the district.
He held it until 92 then.
Yeah, because see, whenever Horry County left the 6th district and went to the 1st district, and Georgetown County too.
Right.
Then that's whenever he lost. Well, he didn't opt to run because he left it to Jim Clyburn.
Yes, that's right. Ed Young was with us last year, and hearing him talk about, and then John Jenrette was with us not long after that, hearing him talk about it geographically, this gigantic district stretching from potentially Chesterfield or areas up there down into Georgetown County, and amazing to think about the coastal side, the agricultural side, but a giant district geographically.
I had the most difficult I had in electing was women. Women just for some reason or another just does not.
You mean they don't vote or didn't get out to help you?
They don't want. One woman shook my hand. She said, "I wouldn't vote for you if you was Jesus Christ."
Oh, my Lord.
I said, if I was Jesus Christ, you'd be living in Georgia.
Did you come back that fast with that? Did you respond that quickly?
I sure did.
No way.
I'd heard that before.
Yeah, I got to get.
But the women are a little better now. Women have still got a long way to go because they just. Well, let me give. I ran for Secretary of State. 2,000 more women voted in the primary than men.
Right.
Not one woman. There's 3 women voting, running for office. Not one woman got in the runoff.
Wow.
And if those women would have supported women, then they would have been at least been in runoff.
Now, Lois, we've only got a couple of minutes, but a critical question is, why do you think that is? That women won't vote for women?
Until so many women think that the women's place is still at home. You don't just like. If you get on an airplane and it's a woman pilot, most of the time if the women know it, they wouldn't get on it. But you would. A man would.
Yeah, sure.
See?
We wouldn't think about it.
But I think it's it's getting better. So maybe the tide is turning.
In 20 years,
maybe the tide's turning. I hope so. And I hope I've been able to open some doors for women. That's one thing too. I've been able.
That doesn't bode well for our former 2-term president's wife, Hillary Rodham Clinton, running for U.S. president.
Yes.
That doesn't set well for her if women are not going to vote for her.
That will be a good litmus test. That will. See what's going to happen.
Absolutely. We got a minute. We want to focus again on the Signature Chefs auction coming up Monday, November 7th. If a viewer was hearing about it for the first time now and wanted to get their calendar out, why do they need to be there?
You need to be there at the Convention Center on November 7th, 6:30 to probably 9:30. Come early if you want to, for the annual Signature Star Chefs auction. That is it, and that is the March of Dimes main revenue funding.
It's a big event,
Yes.
absolutely.
And we have live auctions items. We have silent auction items.
Absolutely.
The medieval times will be there. We're dressed up in all the lords and the kings and the queens and the princesses and the doormen, whatever we call them.
Right,
And
yes,
so
what are
it's going to be a really, and ladies, you'll get a chance to wear your beautiful gowns. It's going to be a dressy affair, black tie optional. We would just love to see you there. Tables, a whole table, $12.50. Tickets are $125 each. We'd love to see you there. We're going to have a wonderful time. November the 7th, 6:30. Telephone number for more information, 488-3463.
Those are great words, Lois. Thanks so much for being with us this morning again. It's great having a double up this week.
Yeah, you're worth getting up again.
Oh my God, I love it. I love it. That's great. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with the Honorable Lois Eargle coming up next. A March of Dimes volunteer for 45 years. Go backwards, back to 1960 when she first got involved with the March of Dimes. Think about a year like that. A year later, she and her family moves to Conway. 15 years later, she steps out to run for House District 105. She came up with those 4 key words, and they've kept her driving not only to represent others, but also to represent unborn babies. Opposition makes you strong. Opposition makes you stronger. There have been folks fighting against her, but a heck of a lot of folks fighting with her, supporting her, and supporting so many in that mission of the March of Dimes, saving babies together. You can be a part of it. Monday, November 7th, at the Signature Chefs event, 6:30 to 9:30. You got to call 488-3463. That's 843-488-3463. 843-488-3463. Take the time to write that number down. 6:30 to 9:30. It'll be a special evening. You break down that event, those 3 hours, there's a lot going on that night. You can be a part of it. Opposition can help you grow stronger, can make you stronger, but the mission of the March of Dimes, saving babies together, will make you not only grow stronger, but grow someone else.